Have you ever checked your change lately? Not just glanced at it, but really looked? Because right now, sitting in a dusty old jar on your kitchen shelf or buried in the console of your truck, you might have a coin worth $1.5 million. And no, I'm not talking about a gold coin or something minted in the 1800s. I'm talking about a simple quarter. A 1994 D Washington quarter. Yes, that 25-cent piece could be your ticket to early retirement, a new home, or the dream life you thought was slipping further out of reach. And now, you might be thinking, come on, how can a coin from the 90s be worth more than a luxury car or even a house? But what if I told you the rare 1994 D quarter isn't just a collector's fantasy, it's a real gem that's changing lives and shaking up the coin market? Stay with me, because over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this rare coin. From its origin and hidden features to real stories of people cashing in and how you can find one too. We'll even reveal the exact traits that make some 1994 D quarters worth just 25 cents and others worth $1.5 million. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Back in 1994, the Denver Mint was running full steam, pumping out millions of Washington quarters. It was a year like any other. There were no major design changes, no commemorative tweaks. Just your standard George Washington profile on the obverse, the eagle perched with spread wings on the reverse. Well, it turns out, a small batch of those quarters were struck under unusual conditions. Whether it was a die error, planchet mix-up, or a combination of high strike pressure and misaligned details, a handful of 1994 D quarters ended up with characteristics that made them incredibly rare. And here's the thing. These weren't spotted in 1994. Oh no. They went unnoticed for years. Decades even. Which means, if one was tossed in with spare change back then, it could still be out there. Right now. Waiting to be found. So here's the $1.5 million question. What separates a regular 1994 D quarter from one that could buy you a beachfront condo? It comes down to rarity, condition, and error. The most valuable 1994 D quarters have a combination of these three factors. Some coins were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank was not a standard copper nickel clad used for quarters. These planchets could be leftover blanks from other denominations or experimental runs. That's rare. And collectors love rare, high-pressure misstrikes resulted in extremely sharp details, so sharp they revealed design quirks and doubled features invisible on regular coins. In numismatics, that's what's called a doubled die. Think of it as nature giving a coin a signature that makes it stand out forever. And finally, the mint condition. A coin's grade can make or break its value. The top-tier 1994 D quarters that are fetching those jaw-dropping prices are graded MS67 or higher. That's mint state 67 on a 70-point scale. Near perfect. Imagine a coin struck wrong, on the wrong metal, with immaculate preservation, and then forgotten for 30 years. That's a jackpot. That's the 1994 D quarter everyone's hunting. And speaking of hunting, in a small town outside Albuquerque, New Mexico, a retired postal worker named Dean was sorting through a jar of coins he'd kept since the 90s. It was just a routine cleanup, part of a garage sale project his wife had been begging him to finish. He noticed a quarter that looked a little odd. The shine was different. The strike was sharper than the others. And get this, it felt just slightly heavier. Curious, he took it to a coin shop. They sent it for grading. The result, a 1994 D mint mark quarter with a misstrike on a foreign planchet. Mint condition. Graded MS67. 1 month later, that same quarter sold in a private auction for $1.52 million. True story, these coins have turned up in estate sales, old coin albums, sock drawers, and even vending machine change returns. They're rare, yes, but they're not gone. And as the demand for vintage coins spikes, the prices are only going up. Grab your magnifying glass, or even just a strong reading light, and pull out your quarter stash. You're looking for a few key traits, found just to the right of Washington's ponytail. If it's a D, you're on the right track. That means it was struck in Denver. If it doesn't quite look like a regular quarter, maybe shinier, smoother, or even a bit off in color, you might have something special. Look for doubling in the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. That's a major flag. The standard weight of a quarter is 5.67 grams. If your quarter weighs significantly more or less, that could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. Sharpness. Mint state coins will have razor-sharp edges, no nicks or blemishes, and full details on the eagle's feathers and Washington's hair. If your coin ticks these boxes, it might be time to call in a professional, but here's the twist: most people never check. So they never know, and that brings us to a key point. Let's say you're holding a suspiciously shiny 1994 D quarter that looks too perfect to be average. First, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value instantly. And next, take it to a certified coin dealer or a numismatist. Have them do a preliminary check. If they confirm it looks promising, your next step is grading. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC will professionally assess your coin and give it a grade that can make it market ready. And then, get this, you can either go public, auction it privately, or hold on to it while the value continues to rise, because the rare coin market is booming. And this is no longer a hobby, it's a serious investment arena. And here's the cliffhanger: there's a growing theory in the numismatic world. Some experts believe that there are still dozens, maybe hundreds, of valuable 1994 D quarters out there. Coins that were never circulated. Coins that were accidentally sealed in mint sets or collector folders, or worse, thrown away by people who never knew what they had. And here's the kicker. A recent private collector offered a $1.6 million reward for a specific variation of the 1994 D quarter with a known die gouge behind Washington's neck. That means, even if you missed this batch before, another one could be worth even more. If you've made it this far, you're now ahead of 99% of Americans when it comes to recognizing hidden treasure in plain sight. That old pocket change, that shoebox in your attic, that forgotten roll of coins in your dad's garage, could be your golden ticket. The 1994 D Washington quarter is a symbol of what's possible when you combine curiosity with knowledge. Because sometimes, fortune doesn't knock. Sometimes, it jingles in your pocket. So before you spend that quarter on a cup of coffee, look twice. And remember, someone once did, and walked away with $1.5 million. Don't forget to subscribe for more rare coin revelations, and drop a comment if you think you've got a 1994 D quarter worth something big. Who knows, your story could be the next one we tell. What if I told you there's a small piece of metal sitting in your pocket, worth more than a luxury car, a beach house, even more than some folks' retirement savings? Today, we're talking about one simple coin, the 2000p South Carolina State Quarter, and how one rare version of this coin is now worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, and before you start flipping through your coin jar, stick with me. Because the real story behind this coin isn't just about metal and mint marks, it's about mistakes, mysteries, and millionaires made overnight. Back to the year 2000. Y2K fears were dying down, flip phones ruled the world, and the US Mint was smack dab in the middle of launching the 50 State Quarters program, one of the most popular coin series in American history. Each state got its turn to shine on the back of a quarter. And South Carolina? Well, it stepped up with a coin featuring the palmetto tree, the Carolina wren, and the yellow jessamine flower. A patriotic tribute to the Palmetto State. Millions of these quarters were struck. But what makes one of them worth more than a Lamborghini? That's where the story gets spicy. Let's talk about the 2000p mint mark. The P means it was minted in Philadelphia. Most of these coins are worth, well, 25 cents. Maybe $1 or $2 if they're in really good condition. But every so often, one of these quarters slips through with an error so rare, so unusual, that collectors go wild. It has to do with how the coin was struck. And we're not talking about scratches or wear. No. This is something much deeper, a double die obverse, a rare misalignment during minting that causes a shadow-like effect, especially around the words liberty and in God we trust. But that's only half the story. The rest gets even better. One gentleman in Tennessee found such a quarter in his change. He was a retired Army vet, just grabbed coffee at a diner, and got some coins back. Tossed them in his cup holder like most of us do. Weeks later, while rolling coins for the bank, he noticed something strange. The coin looked off. The images seemed like they were vibrating, like a double exposure photograph. He set it aside, out of curiosity. That coin turned out to be one of the most valuable South Carolina quarters ever graded. Later sold through private auction for $1.6 million. A retired man found financial freedom with a coin that cost him absolutely nothing. Now that's a story worth staying up for. Let me walk you through the signs. Get out your magnifying glass or your phone camera, and look closely at Washington's face on the front. Are the features blurred or doubled? Examine the lettering, Liberty, In God We Trust, and United States of America. Do they appear thicker, or almost like they've been printed twice? Check for off-center strikes or missing clad layers. That means you may see a copper-colored rim or uneven edges. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Some of these high-value coins weren't just struck incorrectly, they were struck on the wrong kind of metal. That's right. In rare cases, a quarter was mistakenly stamped on a foreign planchet, a blank coin disc meant for another country. That alone makes it a golden ticket for collectors, and you might be wondering, how would that even happen? Well, here's the twist. The US Mint strikes billions of coins a year. Mistakes? Rare, but not impossible. Sometimes a planchet from another coin batch, say, from a dime or even a coin from another country, ends up in the quarter press. And if it gets struck with a South Carolina design, boom! That one slip creates a coin that's virtually one-of-a-kind. Collectors pay astronomical prices for these because they're truly irreplaceable, but we're not done yet. Let's get into what the grading means and how to know if your quarter could be worth 6 or 7 figures. When it comes to coins, condition is king. You might have heard of the term MS-67 or mint state. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-65 or above is extremely well preserved. Think sharp edges, no wear, full luster. The $1 million South Carolina quarter? It was graded MS-67 with a confirmed double die obverse. Only one like it has ever been officially documented in that grade with that exact error. That's what drove the price through the roof. Most people would never spot that level of detail without a professional eye. Which means, there could be others out there, hiding in plain sight. Possibly in your pocket, right now. Still hanging with me? Good. Because we're about to talk about where these coins are most likely hiding. People often think they've got to go to auctions or collectors' conventions to strike gold. But the truth is, many of these rare quarters show up in the most ordinary places, anywhere people dump loose change without a second thought. So if you're the kind of guy who still pays with cash at the gas station or has a jar of quarters sitting by the door, you could be sitting on thousands, or even millions, without realizing it. And before we reveal one final insider tip that could help you spot a rare 2000p South Carolina quarter in under 10 seconds, ask yourself this: if someone offered you $1 million for a coin in your house right now, would you even know where to look? Don't go digging yet. Stay tuned. Because in just a moment, I'm going to tell you about the number one overlooked detail that separates an ordinary coin from a record-breaking one. Here's your insider tip: look at the rim. A small number of error coins from the 2000p South Carolina batch were minted with incomplete edge reading, meaning the tiny ridges on the edge of the coin are missing or uneven. Combine that with any visual doubling, and you've got yourself a potential lottery ticket. Many pawn shop owners have no clue about these errors. Meaning if you're knowledgeable, you might just walk away with a $1.6 million coin for $1 or less. Now that's a hustle. The 2000p South Carolina quarter isn't just pocket change. It's a symbol of how everyday people, especially those smart enough to pay attention, can find massive value in the most unexpected places. You don't need a PhD. You don't need a magnifying lab. You need your eyes, a little patience, and a willingness to look closely at what most people ignore. Just maybe, your story could be the next one told about a man who found a fortune hiding in plain sight. So check your pockets. Check your jars. Look at every single 2000p South Carolina quarter with a little more curiosity. Because one of them could change your life forever. Don't forget to come back here and tell us how it happened. If you enjoyed this video and want to know more about rare coins worth millions, don't forget to subscribe. Because the next coin we reveal might be the one you already own. Stay sharp. Stay curious. And remember, wealth is sometimes hiding in the smallest things. What if I told you that a small piece of change sitting unnoticed in your kitchen drawer could be worth $1.6 million? Imagine you're paying for a coffee, and the cashier gives you back a simple 2019p quarter. You slide it into your pocket without a second thought. But that very coin, that unassuming quarter, might be your ticket to a completely new life. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting stories in modern coin collecting, the 2019p American Memorial Park Quarter Dollar. It's a coin minted for circulation like millions of others, yet a few rare versions are now selling for life-changing money. Some of these treasures are still in circulation. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you how to identify one of these ultra-rare versions, the reason it's worth over $1 million, and how you can turn your spare change into serious wealth, because sometimes, the biggest fortunes are hiding in the smallest places. The 2019 P Quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, a program started by the U.S. Mint in 2010 and concluded in 2021. Each coin in the series honors a national park or historic site in one of the 50 states, 5 territories, and the District of Columbia. This particular quarter pays tribute to the American Memorial Park in the Northern Mariana Islands. It honors the lives lost during the Marianas Campaign of World War II, a piece of U.S. history many people overlook, and this quarter wasn't just created for numismatists, it was minted to circulate. Which means, it could have ended up in your wallet. Or rolled up in a forgotten coin jar under your bed. Let's peel back the layers and take a closer look now. Let's talk mint marks. The P stands for Philadelphia, one of the major U.S. mint facilities. In 2019, millions of quarters were produced with the Philadelphia mint mark. So what separates the $1.6 million versions from the ordinary? Well, here's where things get interesting. A tiny number of these quarters were struck with minting errors and die varieties, and when collectors started noticing them, a quiet buzz began to grow. We're talking about doubled dies, off-center strikes, and specific features that occur during the minting process when something doesn't go as planned. These errors can create design quirks so subtle that the average person would never spot them, but to trained eyes, or lucky ones, they stand out like a neon sign. One particular 2019 P American Memorial Park quarter, with an extremely rare die clash error, fetched over $1.6 million at private auction, and here's the kicker, some coin experts believe there are more out there, still unnoticed. Still unclaimed, still sitting in someone's change jar. That's exactly what we're going to uncover next. First, the coin should clearly show the Philadelphia P mint mark, located just under the words, "In God We Trust," on the obverse side of the coin, next to George Washington's profile. Now flip the coin over. On the reverse side, the design should show a young woman in traditional dress, facing the flag circle in court of honor, but here's where you need to pay attention. Look closely around her hair, her hand, and the flag area. On the ultra-rare versions, the doubling appears in the flag's folds and in the contours of her hair. You might see a slight shadow effect, almost like a ghost image overlapping itself. If you're not sure, use a jeweler's loupe or a magnifying glass. Many high-value versions have what's called Class V doubled dies, which can be extremely hard to spot without magnification. Because now we're heading into the area where real money is made, the grading game. A 2019 P Memorial Park quarter with doubling in good condition might bring in hundreds. But in mint state condition, especially MS67 or higher, with verified errors? That's when you're talking hundreds of thousands, or in this rare case, $1.60 million. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC are the gatekeepers here. They inspect every coin under strict conditions, assign a numerical grade, and authenticate its error type. Without that grade, you might have a treasure and not even know it. But not yet. Because there's another twist to this story, and it's one that might change how you think about all modern coins from now on. For decades, collectors focused on coins from the early 1900s or even the 1800s. The logic was simple: older means rarer, but in the last few years, there's been a seismic shift. Especially those under 50 have started chasing modern rarities. We're talking about coins minted in the last 20 years, even the last decade, with small mint errors, high grades, and limited visibility, because they're still in circulation. Because they're affordable to collect. And because coins like the 2019 P quarter prove that new coins can hold million-dollar value if the right error shows up at the right time. This isn't just a fluke. It's a trend. And those who recognize it early win big.so. If you're still thinking this is just a one-off coin, think again. You could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. Don't clean it. Cleaning coins reduces their value instantly. Take clear, high-resolution photos of both sides, especially the mint mark and any doubling or errors. Reach out to a reputable grading service. PCGS and NGC both offer walkthrough grading for potentially valuable coins. Get a second opinion from a coin dealer or a local coin show. Sometimes the experts will see things you don't. If your coin is certified, get it insured. Because that little piece of copper and nickel might now be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your retirement plan. In a world where everything is digital, fast, and disposable, the most valuable things are sometimes the most overlooked. A quarter that passes through your hands in seconds might hold the kind of wealth most people only dream about. The 2019 P Memorial Park quarter is a shining example. history, mystery, and maybe your millionaire moment. Check your change. You might just be holding a treasure, and if you want more stories like this, the kind that turn pennies into possibility, make sure to subscribe. Because the next millionaire might be watching right now. Hey there, my friend. Imagine this: you stop at the gas station, buy a coffee, get a few quarters back, and toss them in your car's cup holder. Now, what if I told you that one of those dusty little coins could be worth $1.20 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1.2 million. Not in gold, not in crypto, just a simple US quarter. And not from 1800 something either. We're talking about a 2016 Harper's Ferry quarter, with the tiny D mint mark. That's Denver, by the way. This isn't some story out of a movie or a collector's fantasy. It's real. And you might be sitting on one right now. Today, we're diving into the incredible story behind the 2016 D Harper's Ferry quarter, why it's worth a fortune, what sets it apart from your regular pocket change, and how you can check if you have one. Stick around, because I'll also tell you about a few other quarters that are climbing in value, plus the number one mistake people make that instantly ruins the value of a rare coin. But first, let me take you back to where it all began: Harper's Ferry. A name that echoes through American history. It's not just a location, it's a symbol of rebellion, transformation, and courage. Located in West Virginia, Harper's Ferry was the site of John Brown's raid in 1859, one of the key sparks that lit the fire leading to the Civil War. It's steeped in the stories of freedom, abolition, and fighting for what's right. So, when the U.S. Mint decided to honor Harper's Ferry in its America the Beautiful series in 2016, the design wasn't just beautiful. It was powerful. The reverse side of the coin features the iconic John Brown's fort, a bold image of resistance. On the obverse side, you have Washington's portrait, like usual, but what's truly fascinating is what lies beneath the surface of one particular Harper's Ferry quarter from the Denver Mint. You see, something happened during production that changed everything. Somewhere in the Denver Mint, during a routine production cycle, a handful of Harper's Ferry quarters came out different. Not scratched. Not bent. But something far more valuable: error coins. These weren't just any errors. We're talking about doubled dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and even struck-through grease errors, all of which affect how the coin was imprinted and how it looks to the trained eye. The most valuable of these 2016 D quarters showed extremely rare die doubling, especially around the lettering and the fort image. The design looks almost like it's been ghosted, slightly off, slightly distorted. And collectors? They go wild for that. Because it means fewer were made. Maybe just one. Maybe a handful, and here's the kicker: these coins don't just sell for hundreds. Not even thousands. One of these ultra-rare Harper's Ferry quarters fetched a jaw-dropping $1.2 million in a private sale between top collectors. Now let's pause and ask the million-dollar question. Literally, why does a simple 25-cent coin explode into seven figures? Rarity is key. If there's only a handful of error coins or high-quality strikes out there, collectors will fight over them. Condition is next. If a coin is in near-perfect shape, what they call MS67 or higher in the coin world, that's gold. Not literally, but close. And finally, demand. This is where things get really interesting. Because the Harper's Ferry quarter doesn't just appeal to coin nerds. It appeals to history buffs. To Civil War collectors. To people who want a piece of American storytelling in their hands. It becomes more than a coin. It becomes a symbol. So imagine being the guy who just finds one of these in an old drawer, and we'll talk about one of those people right after this. A man in his 60s, from Kansas, didn't even realize what he had. The coin sat in a small wooden box for years, just part of his loose change. He liked collecting coins but wasn't a pro. One day, on a whim, he started comparing it to pictures online. Something looked off. He noticed the doubling. The way the lettering looked strange. So he sent it in to a grading service, PCGS, and when the grade came back, the jaws dropped. Rare die error. Mint condition. Historical relevance. It was auctioned in a private collector's circle for $1.20 million. The man paid off his house. Bought land. Set his grandkids up for college, all from a 25-cent piece. Now, what if I told you there might be more out there? First, flip it over. Make sure it has a D-mint mark, that's right, of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. Next, inspect the reverse. Look closely at the words Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and especially John Brown's Fort. You're looking for signs of doubling or ghosting, two sets of lines, slightly offset. A coin loop or magnifying glass helps a lot here. Don't use your phone camera. It's not precise enough. Also check for off-center striking, where part of the design is cut off, or any unusual textures that might mean it was struck through grease. If anything looks odd, send it in to a professional grading service, PCGS or NGC, because remember, condition is everything. Don't clean the coin. Don't polish it. Don't touch the face with bare fingers. Handle it by the edges only, and then, get ready. You could be sitting on a life-changing discovery. Before we wrap, let's talk about a few other coins that are heating up in value right now. The 2019 W. Lowell quarter, worth hundreds in circulation. The 1982 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, approaching six figures. The 2004 Wisconsin quarter with the extra leaf. That one hit $6,000. So if you're the kind of guy who grew up with a coffee can full of coins in the garage, or if you just like the thrill of the hunt, now's your time, because that change jar might just be your ticket to something big. And just when you think you've heard it all, unconfirmed, but spreading fast, that another 2016 D. Harper's Ferry error was spotted in a coin roll from a local bank just last month. Don't miss what's coming in our next video, where we break down the most overlooked coins from 2017 that are now worth thousands, and one from your pocket could be climbing fast. What if I told you the change in your pocket right now could be worth more than your entire retirement fund? What if that quarter you tossed in your glove box last week could be worth $1.8 million today? Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But for one North Carolina quarter minted in 2001 with a little letter P on the front and a whole lot of history behind it, the dream is a reality now. Before you go dumping out the coin jar in your kitchen, let me walk you through why this coin is turning heads across the nation and how it might just change your life. This isn't just about a quarter, this is about a chance to finally cash in on something that's been sitting under your nose for decades. Stick with me, because by the end of this video you'll know how to spot this million-dollar marvel, what makes it so valuable, and why collectors are paying the kind of money you usually only see in real estate deals. And trust me, this story takes a few turns you won't see coming. Let's rewind to the year 2001. The world was different. Gas was cheap, phones still flipped, and the US Mint was deep into the 50-state quarters program. It was North Carolina's turn to shine on the back of their quarter. The Wright brothers' historic first flight at Kitty Hawk, a moment that changed the world. But here's the thing, most people just saw a cool design. Few noticed the tiny P right under Washington's neck. That P stands for Philadelphia, where the coin was minted. Seems like a small detail, but as you'll soon learn, that tiny P could be your passport to $1 million payday, because not all 2001 P North Carolina quarters were created equal. Here comes the million-dollar question: why would anyone pay nearly $2 million for a 25-cent coin? It all boils down to three things: rarity, condition, and a perfect storm of minting magic. First, rarity. Some of these coins came off the press with striking errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and the rarest of them, a la transitional planchet error, where the coin was struck on the wrong metal blank. That's like finding a Picasso painted on the back of a pizza box. Second, condition. The big money flows toward coins that are in near perfect shape. We're talking mint state 67 or higher, no scratches, nowhere, just sharp edges and brilliant shine. Third, timing. As the coin collecting world grew more digital and more connected, buyers with deep pockets started looking for crown jewels. The 2001 P North Carolina quarter, with its clean design and dramatic error patterns, quickly became a hot ticket item. One of these coins sold for $1.8 million in a private sale that rocked the numismatic world, and that sale triggered a hunt across the country. But the most shocking part isn't the price tag, it's where that coin was found. And once you hear this story, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. Picture this: a man in his 60s, retired, living just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's at a gas station grabbing coffee and a biscuit. He gets a handful of quarters in change, tosses them in the console of his old pickup. A few weeks later, he's rolling coins to cash in at the bank. That's when he notices something. One quarter looks different, shinier, the edges feel crisper, the lettering a bit thicker. On a whim, he brings it to a local coin shop. The dealer squints at it, then squints again. He excuses himself, calls a friend in New York. Fast forward 3 months, that same coin changes hands for $1.8 million, and that man, he uses the money to pay off his house, buy a new fishing boat, and set up trust funds for his grandkids. No fanfare, no media circus, just a quiet miracle wrapped in a 25-cent shell. Alright, so you're probably wondering, what exactly should you look for? Start with the mint mark. It must be a 2001 quarter with a P under the word "In God We Trust." Then examine the back carefully. Look for doubling in the lettering, especially around First Flight or North Carolina. If the letters seem thick, blurry, or doubled, you might have a double die. Next, check the coin's edges, the ridging sharp and clean. Does the coin weigh exactly 5.67 grams? If it's heavier or lighter, you might have a wrong planchet error. Finally, the condition matters. Even rare coins can lose value if they've been banged around too much. If your coin ticks all those boxes, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or Rank. That's your ticket to the big leagues. But here's something most collectors don't know: there may be more than one of these million-dollar Coins still out there, and one recent rumor might just prove it in late 2024. A collector posted photos online of what appeared to be another flawless 2001p North Carolina quarter. The images showed unusual luster and a very faint die crack running through the date. Collectors buzzed, could this be another $1 million coin? No official confirmation yet, but if true, it means this isn't a one-off. There could be others in circulation in wallets, coin jars, or forgotten drawers across America. And the kicker, that rumored coin was found in an old dresser at an estate sale, purchased for $20. Talk about return on investment. So now that you're ready to search, where should you start? Check old coin jars, ask relatives, especially older family members. Look in piggy banks, car consoles, anywhere. Coins tend to gather dust, and if you find a 2001p North Carolina quarter that looks pristine or unusual, don't clean it, don't spend it. Take it to a certified coin shop or submit it for grading. You can list it through heritage auctions or contact private collectors. Some of these buyers are quietly offering over $1 million for the right specimen. You don't need to win the lottery to become a millionaire. Sometimes all it takes is recognizing what you already have. That quarter in your hand, that simple sliver of copper and nickel, could hold the key to your next chapter, a new house, a debt-free life, or maybe just a legacy to leave behind. Because in the world of coins, the smallest details bring the biggest rewards. Keep searching, keep believing, and who knows, the next millionaire coin might just be hiding in your pocket right now.